who needs help, please email nfb@nfb.org. Whether it runs or not, we'll come pick it up for you and give you a tax receipt. See? Giving made easy. And you finished your resolution.
Hi, this is Greg Norman. You're listening to San Antonio's sports leader, 1250 ESPN San Antonio and 94.5 FM.
KCDC San Antonio. Brandon Medina and Michael Jimenez are the Fantasy Guys.
San Antonio, how are we feeling? Happy Sunday. The church is open. All are welcome. You are live with the Fantasy Gods. My name is Brandon Medina, here with my main man, Michael Jimenez. How are we doing, my man?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and dearly beloved, we are gathered here to celebrate this thing called fantasy football. Now just 11 days away from the first game of the season. 11
That's what I'm
days
talking
away.
about. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're ready. I've already had one draft on Friday for a wedding that I am the best man in, and I can definitely understand why, because I'm going to kill those guys with the draft that I got. But when it comes to me and you, Michael, we have our keeper draft tomorrow with some good friends of ours. That's going to be an interesting one. I've never done a keeper draft. You kind of talked me into it, so I'm excited. Tomorrow's going to be draft day for me and you.
Oh, I know. I've already told my wife that she can basically just kiss me goodbye for the week, because I
go.
have tomorrow, I have a couple on Saturday of next week, and then we have our own ESPN San Antonio draft next Sunday at noon.
Absolutely, and those lucky winners that got into our draft will be contacted. If you're listening now, please go look at your social media, Mike, or I will be contacting you. That's going to be a fun one as well. But today we're breaking down the AFC, all of it, west, east, north, south. We are breaking down the AFC. We're talking tiers also, Michael, QB and running back tiers, as well as wide receiver and tight end tiers. To let you guys know, these are our top guys, and then followed behind are these guys, and next up after that. But when it comes to running back, Michael, very limited when it comes to tiers. Those tiers are dramatically distant when it comes to running backs, so that's something you don't want to miss. We'll probably be talking that in the third and fourth segment. Right now, let's talk a little bit about the AFC West and East. Let's talk about who you're targeting when it comes to these teams. So I guess first and foremost, let's break down the fact that the AFC East will be the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. And then the AFC West is the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Las Vegas Raiders, and then, of course, the Los Angeles Chargers. Any of those teams stand out that maybe you're staying away from, Michael?
I'm probably going to stay away from the Miami Dolphins as much as possible. I know they have some young players in there. I know Tua's been very impressive in camp this week. I think Jordan Howard, I guess of anybody from that team that I'd want to be Jordan Howard. I know you're really into Gesicki, but I'm really into Jordan Howard. As far as the AFC East is concerned, the five guys that I'm targeting, not because I think they're the best, but I think that you'll get the best value for them depending on where they are. Looking at Stephon Diggs from Buffalo. I mean, he's just a stud receiver. You know, he had a falling out there with the Vikings, now with Buffalo. He's their number one guy. If you go to any of the social media, any of the beat writers for the Buffalo Bills, they're just saying he is just targeting Stephon Diggs repeatedly this offseason. Late rounds, people like to hold off on tight ends if they don't get one of the big guys. I like Chris Herndon from the Jets.
Yeah,
really,
big sleeper.
Really big year 2 years ago. Last year had some issues, both on the field and off the field. And speaking of the Jets, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but Frank Gore.
Wow.
Frank Gore might actually be the starter over Le'Veon Bell. There's a battle brewing right now. We need to keep an eye on that this upcoming week. I mentioned Jordan Howard, and lastly, I know you've given me so much grief about this, but I am on the train that is Josh Allen. I am a Josh Allen fan. He improved his completion accuracy last year. I'm not saying that he's an elite top 5 quarterback in fantasy, but he is in the top 10.
Okay, fair enough. I like Josh Allen. He's in mine as well when it comes to top 5. I think for the value of where you're getting him in drafts, you can basically punt on the quarterback position and still get Josh Allen in the late rounds. I think it's fair. The only thing is his passing accuracy really worries me. However, if he keeps running, if he keeps doing what he's doing and getting in the end zone with his feet, he has a lot of fantasy value. For me, I love the Miami Dolphins, actually. My team to stay away from would actually be, surprise, the New England Patriots. I'm not trying to get as many people in the Patriots. We don't really know what that offense is going to be. We're hearing a lot of good things about Damian Harris. He might be a late-round flyer as running back. But Julian Edelman, I like at value. I don't think I'm taking him in many drafts. But with the Miami Dolphins, I love Devontae Parker. You look at Allen Hurns, the other wide receiver, two other wide receivers, they've opted out. So really, it's Devontae Parker and the Mike Gesicki show. You have Preston Williams coming back from his last year. That was a pretty good end of the season. Devontae Parker's going to get a lot of targets, so he'd be my number 2. Gesicki my number 3, in my top 5 there on the AFC East. And then when it comes to the Jets, I agree with you. We've heard some news about Frank Gore looking crazy good. We know the guy can turn back the time and turn back the clock and be a solidified running back. I still like the value of Le'Veon Bell if you're getting him as a running back 3. If you're getting him as a running back 2, I wouldn't be too excited. But if you're going 3 running backs, first 3 rounds, you're going running back heavy because, like we're going to talk about in the tiers, those running backs are dramatically different when it comes to tier-based. But besides that, he'd be my number 4, and I think my number 5, I know you're a huge Devin Singletary fan. I'm surprised you didn't even say that. You didn't even mention that. That's your boy. That's your number 1 guy. For me... For me, I like Zach Moss. I like his backup. I think it's as a rookie, he's going to get some goal line work. He's a bigger guy, a bruiser guy. He can catch passes. If he can get in the passing game just even a little bit and take away touches from Devin Singletary, he could be a dramatic value in PPR leagues, deeper PPR leagues, like 12-team leagues. But I think he'd be a good late-round flyer when it comes to maybe that 9th, 10th round.
Isn't it amazing that we mentioned the AFC East with very little going towards the New England Patriots? I mean, for the last 20 years, we've been talking about the Patriots. But now that Tom Brady's not there, we need to see, well, what is there? Cam Newton has yet to be named a starter. Everyone assumes that he's a starter. He's getting the starter reps, but those words have not come out of the mouths of Bill Belichick and everybody going over in New England. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Cam has a turn back the clock type of year either. N'Keal Harry's also an interesting pickup over there. You can probably get him on the waiver wire, or if you're in an auction league for $1, because he was their big prize, rookie last year, and he just wet the bed. Didn't do well, had some injuries as well. Only 100 and some odd yards, I believe, receiving, but they're counting on him to be a wide receiver too, next to Julian Edelman. So you might get some value there. Just kind of keep an eye on him.
Fair enough. And I think when you look at the AFC West, Michael, this is really strong running back cores. You have Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and, of course, your boy, awesome Austin Eckler, your boy who your ride-or-die guy is right now there at the Los Angeles Chargers. Anybody else you're targeting outside of those 3? So maybe 2 more names people should be listening out for in drafts.
Well, when it comes to tight ends, I'm really falling in love with Noah Fant. Noah Fant is just somebody that you can target late rounds. No one's going to be looking at him too much, but he's somebody who could be a tier 2 tight end when it's all said and done. If you take a look at his last 8 games of the season last year, he produced at a top tier 2-tier level. I think that the rookie receivers are going to be really good this year in this particular division. I mean, I know as Cowboy, we're in Cowboy country, so everyone's focusing on CeeDee Lamb, right? And they should. CeeDee Lamb is a fantastic player. He's probably going to have a good season. But look at the rookies in this division as well. Henry Ruggs with the Raiders, Jerry Jeudy with Denver. Both of them may actually be the number 1 wideouts for each of the teams there. So you could get some good value there. We talked about Austin Eckler because Austin Eckler I fell in love with when it came to PPR leagues. I said he's the number 2 running back in a PPR league. He is not in a standard league. In a standard league, he's number 8, 9, or 10. But in a PPR, if you're getting 90-some-odd receptions from a running back and 1,000 yards receiving, that is a top-tier running back in a PPR league. And lastly, Mecole Hardman. Going to be targeting him as a receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to target him. He's with the Kansas City Chiefs. Technically is the number 3 receiver behind Sammy Watkins, who's a complete fraud. I cannot stand Sammy Watkins. He is the one player in fantasy football that I hate. I hate Sammy Watkins for fantasy. But Hardman, get this, he's not taking all the punt returns. He's not taking all the kickoff returns in practice, which might mean that they're bringing him up into more of a role in the offense, just like they did with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. I think that name, Mecole Hardman, is going. I've seen him go undrafted. I've seen him go in the 15th round. I've seen him go super, super late. I think for me, outside of Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Darren Waller is a guy I'm targeting a lot because I think he's going to get crazy targets over there for Las Vegas and the Raiders. Also, if you're looking for rookies, Henry Ruggs III and Jerry Jeudy runs the best routes of any receiver in this draft. I think route running, he's great. However, with the Denver Broncos, outside of him and Noah Fant, I'm kind of staying away from the Denver Broncos. I don't
Really?
like running back by committees. I don't know who's gonna have the upper hand with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. I think obviously Melvin Gordon's an amazing running back when healthy. Phillip Lindsay's been a top 20 running back, the past couple years. That's not going to happen this year. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But outside of Cortland Sutton, maybe I take in drafts. I really am just trying to stay away from them. I just don't know what's going to happen with that offense. I don't trust Drew Lock, stuff like that. However, when it comes to a pick that I love the value on, Mike, and I'm sure you'll agree, there's no way you don't. Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen was a number 6 wide receiver last year. He was getting drafted as the wide receiver 20. It blows my mind. Obviously, quarterback changes are going to be dramatic for not only Keenan Allen, but your boy Austin Eckler. I do not think Austin Eckler is going to be a number 2 running back, but I could see him squeezing into the top 8, top 10. But I think that might be his ceiling. I think without a check down quarterback, the receptions might go low. Running back, though, the dude's incredible. If you're looking for a running back, people are worried about, the Jackson, his backup, and a couple others. And there's just no way. Austin Eckler's too good to be. He's going to be the RB1 over there for sure.
I'm not worried about Jackson taking any carries from him. Melvin Gordon is not there. Okay, so I know that you look at Austin Eckler's stats and you go, okay, he only had 500 and some odd rushing yards, but you get him to 800, 900 yards rushing, and matching that 1,000 yards of receiving, that right there is the guy that you're going to want to have as your RB1. Okay, so I think you're right about Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon splitting time back there. I'd probably stay away from both of them. But right now, you take a look at Drew Lock and some of these players from Denver. It's exciting to see this division because of all the upside that you have with a lot of these players. And when I draft, I don't draft what I think they're going to do. I draft what they're capable of. And this is one of those divisions to look at.
Absolutely, and I think we're going to come back right after this and talk the AFC North and South, as well as our quarterback, running back tiers, and wide receiver tight end tiers, and that's something you're going to want to look at and listen in for as drafts are happening today, tomorrow, and next weekend. We are now in full-fledged fantasy football chaos, and we are super excited. Keep it locked, 94.5 FM, 1250 AM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Do you ever wonder how long you could make it financially if your paycheck were to stop due to an accident or illness? Visit callclark.com, as you don't have to wonder. The loss of your income could be devastating to you and your family. You could lose your home, automobiles, and other essentials. Don't let this happen to you and your family. You can insure your paycheck for less than 2% of your income. Do yourself a favor and contact Clark Ross with Coordinated Financial Group and learn more. Go to callclark.com to learn how to protect your paycheck today. Once again, callclark.com.
Ready for a positive 2020 surprise? Here's one from Diamonds Direct. The return of our best offer ever. 5 years, zero interest financing. Yes! Starting Monday the 31st, backed by popular demand. Pick any item. Get the amazing value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Pay nothing down and spread your payments over 5 years with zero interest. And you can even finance the sales tax. Fine jewelry has never been more affordable. 5 years, zero interest on anything and everything starting September 1st. At Diamonds Direct. On approved credit. Get details, directions, and store hours at diamondsdirect.com.
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, is celebrating the Cowboys' 60th anniversary with the Ultimate Fan Experience Sweepstakes. Win Dallas Cowboys game tickets, tailgate experience, and 60th anniversary gear like exclusive Miller Lite Cowboys caps, t-shirts, or a track jacket. Register at MillerLite.com/Cowboys or go to your local retailer where Miller Lite is sold and snap the Snapchat code. The Ultimate Fan Experience Sweepstakes brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Celebrate responsibly. 2020 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
San Antonio has 2 Hop Dottie locations. Hi, I'm Steve Foster. One at the Rim and the new location at the Vineyard, 1301 North Loop 1604 West, and the initial San Antonio location at 17623 La Cantera Parkway, Suite 101 at the Rim. Different and delicious burgers with fresh and all-natural ingredients. Hop Dottie also has handcrafted milkshakes and hand-cut Kennebuck fries. So get to a Hop Dottie in San Antonio. When burger is life, life is awesome.
We're Mark, Richard, and Jerry from the band OAR on a mission for America's paralyzed veterans.
We want the best for our families, but what if your brother were paralyzed in the Iraq War and couldn't get the care or benefits he needed? Or your daughter was disabled serving her country, keeping her from securing a job?
These veterans need our help. We've joined Paralyzed Veterans of America's Mission Able to help wounded veterans get what they need: care, benefits, and jobs.
So join the mission at mission-able.com, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
The greatest gift a dad can give his kids isn't something he can buy. It's something priceless. time. Studies show that kids with involved fathers are less likely to abuse drugs, commit crimes, get pregnant, get depressed, or fail academically. All it takes is time. A public service message from the Fatherhood Educational Institute. Call 312-795-9060 for free, helpful information. That's 312-795-9060.
San Antonio, San Antonio. I hope the barbacoa is hot and the Big Red is flowing nicely. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. This is the Fantasy Gods, where we bring all your necessary insight for fantasy football, especially now that we have drafts coming up. We have the NFL season only 11 days away. Huge stuff going on. We are excited, Michael Jimenez. I'm Brandon Medina. That's Michael Jimenez. We're talking fantasy football. We're talking AFC North and South. We just hit the West and East. But before we do that, Michael, we have our draft tomorrow, our Keeper League draft, me and you. This is the first time we're going to be in the league together. I'm super stoked. For those on Facebook Live, we have the trophy in hand here. We have the Lombardi trophy here that your boy helped create. But with that, is there anything that maybe you're seeing in drafts that have been different, or anything you're nervous about, maybe something that you're looking to target? Is there any certain rounds that you're more excited about than normal? What do you think is going through your mind now that we have the draft coming up tomorrow?
I'm more excited about rounds 5 through 9 because that's where championships are made. 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to get a stud no matter what you do. Even if you reach early for a receiver or reach early for a quarterback, they're going to be a stud. So rounds 1 through 3 especially, you have somebody there that's going to be starting the entire season. But the money is made 5 through 10. And it's basically seeing who falls and having those projections. I know you're really big on ADP, and if you could explain what that is, but I don't really follow that. I go into the draft wanting my players, not what I think some magazine is saying that I should draft.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at it, Mike, me and you are two, fantasy football journalists, if you will. And I think when you look at it, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody can tell the future, right? We all take guesses. We all look at coaching changes, at roster moves, at strength of schedule, and that's where ADP plays a part. So ADP is average draft position, everybody. ADP, you'll see it, the numbers next to the players there on ESPN, on NFL. Wherever you're drafting, you'll see that. The reason I follow that, and this is only if you're drafting online. If you're doing an offline draft during COVID and you're seeing some buddies for the first time and you're putting names on the board, you're not going to be able to see that ADP, and that might be even better for you if you've done mock drafts, because people will slip. They're not seeing where they're supposed to go, so people will be reaching, and people will slip. But ADP, I follow simply for the fact that if we're live on ESPN like we will be drafting tomorrow, me and you, Michael, let's say an Austin Eckler's ADP, average draft position, is number 14. Should you take him at number 2, knowing you can probably get him on the turn if you're number 9, 8, 7? Maybe not. Maybe you wait for him knowing his ADP might just fall down to you. So that's why I kind of follow that. But I did an offline draft yesterday via Zoom. And I'll tell you what, I got stacked, Michael Jimenez. I was number 6. I got Michael Thomas. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the turn, and then Miles Sanders in the third because nobody was looking. The ADP does not matter. It slips. People are picking names that they recognize. If you're playing with a league that does not follow football as heavily, you're going to get an amazing roster. But please, mock draft.
I cannot stand drafting 1, 2, or 3, and I cannot stand drafting 11 or 12. I love being right where you were in that draft, 6 or 7. I hate picking my 2 players at 12 and 13 and then going away for an hour because I have nothing to do. The thing about it, though, is that I go into a draft knowing what players I want to target, and I know what round I want to target, but it's also what kind of happens throughout the draft. Is there a big run on running backs? Is there a big run on quarterbacks? Because if something like that is happening, you might have to pull the trigger a little bit faster than what you want to do. Okay, so maybe Austin Eckler at a 3 or 4 is a little bit of a reach, but if you don't think he's going to be back, and that's the guy that you wanted on your team, you just got to have to do what you do.
Absolutely.
Just do what you do, because I don't want to pick a player that I'm not 100% confident in, that I'm 90% confident in, and go, man, why didn't I have him this entire? I could have had him. I had the opportunity, and I let it slip through my fingers because I'm following some sort of structure that a consensus has come together with, and I don't like that. I want my players.
Absolutely right. If you have any difference in opinion, maybe you do not believe in ADP, maybe you believe in reaching, whatever the case, please give us a call and let us know who you're reaching for in drafts at the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN. Once again, that's 210-656-3776. But let's get back to the topic of conversation. We're breaking down the AFC. Let's break down the AFC North and South. So for those who are listening, the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. The AFC South, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. Name some 5 players in each of those divisions, Michael, that you are targeting in your personal drafts.
Okay, so the most interesting team out of all of these 2 divisions is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because what's going to happen with Ben Roethlisberger, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner? Back in 2018, these were elite fantasy players. That was a QB1, a wide receiver 1, and a running back 1. But last year, all 3 had injuries. And I'm not a big fan of getting old quarterbacks, but I'm taking a look at Roethlisberger. He threw for over 5,200 yards 2 seasons ago before getting hurt last year. He's back, supposedly healthy. He might slip to later rounds. Might be a good QB2, just have for your backup there. So I like him. James Conner, still a young guy in a contract season coming back from injury. That's another one that I'm going to look at because I bet he falls in the draft. Maybe he's not even one of the top 20 running backs taken. So if he's still on the board and 20 running backs have been taken, go ahead and draft him. Other people that I'm looking at, obviously Nick Chubb, great running back. And as far as a receiver is concerned, I love Tyler Boyd out of Cincinnati. Tyler Boyd had a breakout year last year, a little over 1,000 yards. So many young players for that team. Auden Tate is there, obviously Mixon, and then we have A.J. Green coming back from injury. Tyler Boyd might be that quality number 2 receiver for that team. Could get that 1,200 yard receiving season from him this year.
Yeah, I think for me in that AFC North, I think for me the most interesting team that it makes me very nervous is the Cleveland Browns. In our first show ever, I had said, Baker Mayfield, I think, has a bounce back season. I'm not personally taking him in drafts. I don't trust the bounce back that heavily. But I think if he's on the board and maybe you don't have a quarterback, maybe you punt it on quarterback and tight end. You wanted just straight positions of running back and wide receiver. You wanted the best you can get. No problem. Baker Mayfield's going to be there. We're seeing people like Aaron Rodgers drop dramatically. You'll still have somebody. Understand you do not need a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes to win your league. Don't you agree, Michael? I think you can have a Matt Stafford. You can have a Daniel Jones. You can have a Matt Ryan. And I think if you have those solid positions of running back and wide receiver and they're top tier, I truly believe you can win a league with any quarterback.
I would say you need a top 8 or a top 9 quarterback. You don't need the elite one. You don't need the top 2 or 3 elite ones, but you need a top 8 or 9. Because if you're rolling into the Super Bowl or into the playoffs and you have Gardner Minshew as your quarterback, you're not going to win anything. I don't care who your running backs are.
Okay, I disagree. What do you guys think? Call the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776. Speaking of Gardner Minshew, Bud Light's offering if you take him as your first pick, you get a free case of Bud Light. I'm pretty sure something like that is going on, and that's incredible. So maybe we should do a little mock draft and get us some free Bud Light anyways. But anyways, when we're talking about the AFC North, Cleveland is somebody I'm interested in, specifically Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt as a running back 3, a flex, would be awesome, be ideal. You get 2 solid running backs, and then maybe you get 2 great wide receivers. You're focused on that, or you get Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Mark Andrews at tight end, and then maybe you go back to running back. Whatever the case, I like Kareem Hunt, and I love Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's getting drafted way later than I think he's going to finish. I do not trust the hype of J.K. Dobbins, at least in the beginning of the season. So I think Mark Ingram will still be getting goal line work. Again, not as a running back 2. I don't trust him as that, but maybe as a flex, a running back 3. Whatever the case, this is still a very powerful offense, as well as I love Marquise Hollywood Brown. I think he's going to have a huge breakout year for the Ravens. So that's somebody I'm interested in taking in a lot of leagues. When it comes to Pittsburgh, I like James Conner. Like you said, he's falling sometimes into that 20, 21, 22 running back range. When healthy, James Conner is a top 10 running back. So that's definitely somebody to be targeting. Michael, what's up?
Odell Beckham. Quick question. Is he an elite receiver anymore?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we're going to talk tiers next. This next segment, we'll talk wide receiver tight end tiers. And I think Odell Beckham, for me, falls out of that tier 1 for sure. But I think he stays in the top of my tier 2. So I think maybe not elite, but still a superstar wide receiver that I expect to have a bounce back year this year.
I'm pretty fascinated by them. I think it's a great division. This is going to be a lot of fantasy gems that you're going to find in here because no one really pays attention to this division very often when it comes to fantasy, unless you're talking only about the Steelers. But the Browns have a lot of good players. The Bengals with all their young players. I'm really excited about this division. This is where rounds 8 through 12, you're going to get a lot of different value picks that you're going to have from there.
Yeah, now Odell Beckham is a guy that, again, we stress, Michael, me and you stress, know your league. Know the players you're playing with. Odell Beckham is a name. Does not mean he's going to put out fantasy output. Odell Beckham most likely will not have more fantasy points than a DJ Chark, than a Terry McLaurin, but he has the name value that draws people. He's getting drafted as wide receiver 13. He finished last year as wide receiver 25. Look up a little bit of stuff. Look up, some backup information. Understand that fantasy is all about one thing. It's all about what ifs. The thing is, do you trust Odell Beckham to make that jump in an offense that just added Austin Hooper, that has a healthy Kareem Hunt, that has, a better little bit of an offensive line, that maybe is going to have a bounce back Baker Mayfield? A lot of targets are going to go to a lot of different people. Do you trust an Odell Beckham, or are you more trustworthy to have a Terry McLaurin, a DJ Chark, a Keenan Allen, who you know is going to be the number one guy on their team regardless? So that's what I would think that I would be doing in my drafts. But I agree, this division is going to be huge. I think this division is going to be absolutely stellar for fantasy. But let's talk a little bit about AFC South. I know we're coming down to the segment, but AFC South, any 5 players you're targeting from the AFC South?
Oh, you said one of the names already, DJ Chark. Really big fan of his. Oh, my God, A.J. Brown. These are 2 receivers I'd rather have than Odell Beckham. Personal opinion. But A.J. Brown averages over 20 yards of reception last year, had a fantastic rookie year for Tennessee. I'm really big on him. I kind of like Randall Cobb, late rounds for the Texans.
Wow.
You know what he's going to get. He's an 800, 900-yard receiving type of receiver. I like him. Marlon Mack, if you're in a standard league, I'm fine with. But if you're in a PPR league, I'd stay away because he gets no receptions. And then my man, Derrick Henry. He's built like a Mack truck, man. And that guy is a stud. Better in a standard league than PPR, but I'd take him either way.
Yeah, I think me and Derrick Henry look very similar body-wise, so I think I'm a big fan. But, hitting up our boy Nick Trey and James Pledger, they commented on our Facebook. Nick Trey said, running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end is how he sees the values. He does believe without a top 8 quarterback, you're not going to be able to get much. And also, James Pledger, he mentioned Chase Claypool, a guy who's getting a lot of love there at training camp for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely somebody to take a flyer on. For me, with the Houston Texans, there's 2 guys, right? There's 2. Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks is going to be the guy. The odds, I think, are more with Will Fuller, but I think in reality, I'm taking Brandon Cooks later. I think the value for Will Fuller, where he's going, is great. Just a little too early for me, knowing that this guy has missed, 16 games over the past 3 seasons. Brandon Cooks, every single season outside of last year, Brandon Cooks has basically been a wide receiver 1 all the time. And I think he has concussion stuff that's going on. I still trust him to be extremely versatile in this offense. I think Brandon Cooks will be my guy. I'm getting him in round 10, round 11, very late. So maybe a wide receiver 3. Definitely draft 2 other wide receivers that you trust more. But I think in the Houston Texans, one of those guys is bound to pop off. With the Colts, you mentioned Marlon Mack. I'm going to mention a name nobody's drafting. I'm getting him late. If not, he's going undrafted. Nyheim Hines, passing running back over there in the Colts offense. And I think when you look at it, listen, Phillip Rivers is the running backs quarterback. He passes to them. They get receptions. He has the possibility of being a Danny Woodhead type player in this Colts offense. I like him. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars, you mentioned it, DJ Chark, I love. I still am all about Leonard Fournette. Obviously, it's going to be dropped back a little bit. I do think he's going to get the carries, though, whether he gets traded or stays. I'm still rolling with Leonard Fournette, maybe as a running back 2 or a flex. And then with Tennessee, for me, you're absolutely correct. I think A.J. Brown is the guy. I do believe he's going to be wide receiver number 1 on their depth chart. He's going to be absolutely explosive. And for the value in the draft, those are the guys I'm looking for that can be sneaky, someone like that, or even, a Robert Woods, a Cooper Kupp that can be a sneaky wide receiver one that nobody's drafting as a wide receiver one.
The Houston Texans may very well be a good team this year. They might get those 10 or 11 wins, but from a fantasy perspective, may not have those players, maybe aside from Deshaun Watson. Jacksonville, you mentioned Leonard Fournette. Fournette is a top running back. He's a top 12 running back when healthy. It's just, can he stay healthy? He is the AFC's version of Dalvin Cook.
Fair enough. We're talking all this and more. We're talking wide receivers, quarterback tiers, as well as running back, tight end tiers. We're talking a lot coming up. Do not miss out. We'll be right back. 94.5 FM, 1250 AM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
Cover 3 at Stone Oak in San Antonio is the place to be, whether you're looking to gather coworkers for lunch, dine with friends, or treat your sweetie to a fabulous dinner. This elegant restaurant offers ample seating with comfortable leather booths, tall cocktail tables, along with full-service dining at the bar, or you can enjoy a fun time out on the patio. So come to Cover 3 and experience dining, spirits, and sports.
Cover 3, 1806 North 1604 West, 210-479-9700.
Third floor study hall.
My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything you need. From lap desks to computers, desk chairs to UV sanitizers. This week at Staples, a 2-pack of Elmer's glue sticks, a 24-pack of Crayola crayons, and comp books are just 50 cents each. Shop in-store, pick up curbside, or order online. School on, save on. Staples. Ends 9/5 while supplies last. Limit 30. Limits vary online. Curbside available in most stores.
Do you wake up during the night and have trouble falling back asleep? Restore your natural sleep function with drug-free REM Fresh, the first and only continuous release and absorption melatonin that supports your natural sleep cycle for up to 7 hours. #1 sleep doctor recommended REM Fresh. Get up to 7 hours of sleep support. Available at Amazon and at fine retailers nationwide. Individual results may vary. Use as directed.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Jewelers all over town promise that they absolutely guarantee the lowest price and try very hard to get you to buy today. But when you say not now, they suddenly offer you a 25% discount. And when you start to leave, they offer another 25% discount. How can you believe jewelers who say they guarantee the lowest price and then systematically try to take an extra 50% from anyone they can talk into paying full price and hold their biggest sale of the year every couple of months? At America's Diamond, we design and manufacture our extraordinary diamond jewelry right here in San Antonio. Everyone gets our very lowest price every day of the year. We've never had a sale. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are never on commission. We guarantee that quality for quality, our everyday America's Diamond manufacturer's price is lower than any jeweler's very best sale price, or we'll refund the difference plus 25%. See our television program tonight on ABC KSAT 12 at 12:35 a.m. or right now at americasdiamond.com.
Having dry skin is a struggle. Turns out my body wash was the problem. So I tried new Olay skincare-inspired body wash with vitamin C, collagen, and hyaluronic acid, which improves skin 3 times better versus the leading body wash after 14 days based on clinical moisture retention. And now help stop dry skin before it starts with new Olay Rinse-Off Body Conditioner. Find new Olay skincare-inspired body wash online or in stores. Try Olay Body today.
The church is open. All are welcome. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Fantasy Gods. I am Brandon Medina. He's Michael Jimenez. Fantasy football is upon us, and we are talking our wide receiver and tight end tiers in this segment, followed by our quarterback and running back tiers in the next. So let's start it off, Michael. Let's get going. We want to make sure we get all the information out to the listeners. Wide receiver, tight ends, these positions are absolutely valuable. Tight ends are something that a lot of people tend to punt on and kind of switch in every week and kind of have a rotation of. But when it comes to wide receivers, without some solidified wide receivers, your team is going nowhere.
Agreed. And I only have 6 wide receivers that I consider to be tier 1. Just 6.
Okay, fair enough.
And here's the thing. The number 1 by far is Michael Thomas from the Saints. Okay, wearing the Saints shirt. Michael Thomas is by far, and it's not only because Drew Brees is there, because if Drew Brees is not there, they have Jameis Winston who can sling the ball as well. So he's going to get his yards. Michael Thomas will get his yards, and he should be the first receiver off the board. After that, I'm looking at Devontae Adams. I'm looking at Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen in PPR leagues, and maybe a Mike Evans. Those are my tier ones.
Okay, fair enough. For me, tier 1, I have 8. I have Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and then I have Tyreek Hill and Julio Jones. I think Julio Jones has a very good shot of being a top 2 wide receiver this year. And I think Tyreek Hill, barring anything else crazy happening of him missing games, is definitely going to be in the top 5, top 7 wide receivers. Outside of them, I have Chris Godwin, and then I have Kenny Golladay and Allen Robinson. I love Kenny Golladay. I think with Matthew Stafford coming back healthy, Kenny Golladay, we haven't seen the explosiveness. We haven't seen exactly where he can go. And even with that, last year he was a number 9 wide receiver. So I like him. Allen Robinson, I love. Target monster. Who else are they going to throw the ball to there in Chicago? Allen Robinson's there in my tier 1 of wide receivers. Now, when it comes to tier 2 of wide receivers, who dropped out, Michael? Who dropped out of that tier 1 and tier 2 for you? Name a couple names.
Your guy, Julio Jones. Okay, so Julio Jones, obviously a fantastic wide receiver, has been a fantasy god for the last 5 or 6 years. I just think at some point for receivers, you start to have a little bit of a drop-off, okay? Right. So I have Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, and Amari Cooper as my tier 2. I'm going to stay within tier 3, though. When it comes to my tier 3, those are the receivers that I want for a variety of different reasons. One is I may not have to spend a first, second, or third rounder on them, can still get quality points, and also have the ability to have an even higher season for them because they have that talent level to get up there. So that's the Kenny Golladay. That's the Cooper Kupp, especially in a PPR league. I'm in love with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Just give me one of those guys. Stephon Diggs. He could be a top 5 wideout this year. I know that doesn't make you happy because you're a Vikings fan, but the fact of the matter is that he's a fantastic receiver. Michael Gallup, Odell Beckham, those are the guys that I'm going to target kind of mid-rounds because if I don't get Michael Thomas early on, then I'm not going to worry about tier 2. I'm going to go to tier 3.
When I think when you look at Michael Thomas scored more than basically every running back that was not named Christian McCaffrey. So if you don't hit on one of those running backs, I know a lot of people, including myself, are very nervous taking a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds because the running back drop-off is so dramatic, which we'll talk next segment. But Michael Thomas is going to put up absolute numbers every year. Every year he's consistent. Every year he's incredible. Michael Thomas will put up any numbers that you're missing from a running back 1. However, with that, in my tier 2, I have DJ Moore, Mike Evans. I have Cooper Kupp there, actually. And then also I have Robert Woods, Keenan Allen, and Tyler Lockett. I love Tyler Lockett. 13th ranked wide receiver last year, is getting drafted like wide receiver 35 or something crazy. He's outrageous. But anyways, Tyler Lockett is dramatically going to be, I think, just as consistent as ever. DK Metcalf, like you said, will have a great season. He's more in my wide receiver 3. And unfortunately, in my tier 3s, I also have Juju Smith-Schuster. I have Amari Cooper. I have people that maybe I don't trust as much. Amari Cooper is going to be consistent. Amari Cooper very well might be a top 10 wide receiver. My only thing is target share is going to be tough to take away from. There's a lot of mouths to feed there in that offense. Juju Smith-Schuster might well be a top 10 wide receiver with the healthy Ben Roethlisberger. The thing is, those are all ifs with this, with that. I don't know. Adam Thielen very well could be a top 10 wide receiver if healthy. There's too many ifs for me. However, let's talk a little bit about tight ends. Who's in your, tier 1 followed by tier 2 and tier 3? Let's start with tier 1 for tight ends. Is there 5, 6, 3, 4? What does your tier 1 look like?
My tier 1 starts with 4, but this is where it gets kind of interesting because when it comes to receivers, you have a big pool of players. Look at all the receivers we mentioned, but we didn't mention CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy or
Terry
Henry
McLaurin.
Ruggs or Terry McLaurin. We didn't mention that. So there's a lot of talent in the receiver ranks. You can wait. If you want to go get Michael Thomas because he's a stud, go get him. But you don't have to spend picks 4 through 8 on receivers if you don't want to. There's going to be talent there. When it comes to tight end, obviously the names like Travis Kelce and George Kittle come to mind because they're very, very good. But I like Mark Andrews, Darrell Waller, as long as Waller's not having to split time with Jason Witten. those four right there are going to be my big guys when it comes to tight end, and then maybe an Austin Hooper.
Okay, fair enough. For me, I have the exact tier ones as you: Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, and Darren Waller. Now, I think people might be surprised. They might say, hey, wait a minute. Where's Zach Ertz? Where's Evan Ingram? Where's even, I mean, some people might be saying, where's Rob Gronkowski? For those people, I promise you he's not even there in my tier 2. But when it comes to Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert's there, man. There's another tight end that's there that might take time. Zach Ertz has been incredibly consistent, incredible. Carson Wentz is somebody that we know might have injuries lingering. There's a rookie in Jalen Reagor, Deshaun Jackson. They don't have a lot of targets, so Zach Ertz might be a top 3 tight end. My thing is there's just another good backup behind him where if they were to run 2 tight end sets or whatever the case or get him more involved, Goddard might take a little bit more out of Zach Ertz than we expect. And I think Zach Ertz, with age, will probably start declining as we continue.
Exactly. Ertz gets the yards, but Goddard actually gets the touchdowns. So that's kind of the thing with them. You mentioned Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram with the Giants, fantastic year a couple of years ago. Had some issues last year. Is he going to bounce back? There are a lot of bounce back people that we're talking about. What's Blake Jarwin going to do with the Cowboys? That's another one there. Is he a good pick? I would say he's probably number 13 or 14 off the board nationwide, but because we are in San Antonio, a lot of people are going to probably take him a little bit earlier than they should. Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee, fantastic year last year. If you can hold off and get him as the 10th tight end off the board, then you did really well.
I actually disagree, though. I have not seen Blake Jarwin get drafted but one time in all of my mock drafts. Blake Jarwin is going to be a guy that's a huge sleeper, and another one when it comes, definitely probably at the end of my tier 3, but somebody that has huge tier 2 upside for me is somebody like, a Jonnu Smith over there in Tennessee, a Jack Doyle in Indianapolis, Greg Olsen, if you're trusting you're really, really punting on tight end. Chris Herndon, somebody that, we haven't got to see much, but what we have seen was incredible. I agree with you, though. In my tier 2, I have the Evan Ingrams, the Zach Ertz. I have Tyler Higbee, and then I think I have Jared Cook, and that's about it. After that, I have Rob Gronkowski in tier 3, Hunter Henry in tier 3. I have Hooper in tier 3, and it's somebody that I am definitely drafting every draft. Be ready for it, Michael, because odds are I'm taking this, man. I love punting on tight end. If I don't get Travis Kelce or George Kittle, I don't need a tight end until late.
Right.
So with that, my thing is I absolutely am in love with Hayden Hurst. He is my ride or die this year when it comes to Atlanta. I think he's going to get massive targets, and Matt Ryan has proved day in, day out, every year tight ends work there for the Atlanta Falcons.
The most fascinating thing about all this is we're giving our tiers for tight ends. I would much rather have a tier 3 tight end than a tier 2, because a tier 2 means I took him about 1 or 2 rounds earlier than I wanted. I'd rather just hold off and get one of the tier 3 guys if I'm not getting Kelce or Kittle.
Absolutely, and don't be afraid to stream tight ends and even wide receivers in some instances. But with that, let's talk quarterback and running back tiers after this. 94.5 FM, 1250 AM. You are live with the Fantasy Gods on ESPN SA.
Texas Spine Care Center and Dr. Adam Brueggemann are committed to treating chronic back pain and helping patients understand and make informed decisions about orthopedic treatment. They focus on using the latest techniques, medicines, and practices to give their patients the best treatment options to manage and overcome pain. Texas Spine Care Center is committed to helping San Antonio find the best choices that will give you your life back. So call 210-941-1785 or go to texasspinecarecenter.com. 210-941-1785.
If you're a bacon lover, I've got great news for you. This is Michael Kilbasa with Kilbasa Smoked Meats. Our authentic dry-cured bacon is now available at grocery stores near you. We make it the old-fashioned way with the finest pork bellies in our legendary spice blend. We don't pump it full of water or chemicals like other brands. All you get is thick, savory slices of delicious bacon. I hope you'll give it a try, and if it's not the best bacon you've ever eaten, I'll give you your money back. Kilbasa Smoked Meats, slow crafted in Texas since 1949.
Getting ready for the hangover without the headache. The Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. James Pledger and Jack Thompson bring you the latest on the Cowboys, Spurs, Texans, Longhorns, Aggies, Red Raiders, Roadrunners, and more. Check out the Saturday Morning Hangover. Saturday mornings 9 to 11. 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Victor Ray, this is Scorpion 23 traveling west on MSR. One Victor hit by IED at grid. Mike Bravo, 310-737. This is small arms fire. Request QRF.
In war, there will always be casualties. And for our wounded warriors, coming home can sometimes be a battle in itself. Join us and find out how your donation can make a difference in their lives at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
San Antonio, you are live with the Fantasy Gods. Church is open. We are here to bring you our quarterback, running back tiers. We talked wide receiver, tight end tiers. We broke down the AFC this show. Busy show. Now we hit the big positions, quarterback, running back tiers. I'm Brandon Medina. That's Michael Jimenez. If you're on Facebook Live, you see the beautiful trophy me and Michael will be drafting for tomorrow in our Keeper League. It will be being passed around over the years, and I'm pretty sure it will stay right here with Big Daddy, Brandon Medina, for the next coming years. However, Mike Jimenez is a very welcome challenger. Now, when we talk quarterback and running back, Michael, where do quarterbacks start and end? Let's talk tier 1 and tier 2, and then we'll go to tier 3. But just hit me with your tier 1 real quick, and then we'll kind of move fast into running back.
Yeah, just two players on tier 1, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That is it. And I will tell you this, I don't care if it's a PPR league or a standard league. If I'm sitting at number 8 or 9 and Lamar Jackson's still on the board, I don't care what backs went, I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
Wow, big heat coming over here from my man. When it comes to ADP, you know I'm the ADP master over here. Like I said, know your league. Michael Jimenez has now told me I will not be getting Lamar Jackson because I am not wasting a first-round pick on him. With that being said, if you're somebody who trusts that, absolutely go for it. Fantasy football is about creating your personal fantasy football team, not mine, not Michael's. Whoever you like, you go for it. You want to draft Blake Jarwin in the 3rd round, go for it. That's on you, buddy. However, I agree with you. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes are in my first 2 tiers, or my first tier by itself. However, when it comes to tier 2, there's a lot of upside. My tier 2 my tier 2 quarterbacks will be Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray. I think those 4 guys have upside of being quarterback, a quarterback 2. I think Lamar Jackson keeps, QB1 locked in fantasy football. However, who knows? So I think Dak Prescott, out of everybody, has the biggest upside to lead quarterbacks in fantasy football this year.
I have the exact same tier 2 as you do, those same 4 quarterbacks. Now, the reason is that they get the cheap points. They use their legs, and they can run. Kyler Murray especially. Dak Prescott was one of the 3 top quarterbacks last year in points. I think Kyler Murray is going to be the number 3 guy this year. I think he's going to be that guy who's going to take that leap even again. Going into tier 3 for me, though, it's the old-timers, man. It's Drew Brees. It's Carson Wentz, it's kind of hard to say that he's an old-timer, but to me he is because he's always hurt. Aaron Rodgers, and then that spotlight on Ben Roethlisberger. What are we going to get from him this year? Again, he's coming back from an injury, says he's healthy now. He was the number 1 quarterback 2 years ago. What are we going to get from him? You might be able to get a value for him. If you are one of those owners who says, I'm not going to draft a quarterback until late rounds, if he's there, the upside is amazing with Ben Roethlisberger.
Absolutely. The only question is who is he passing to outside of Devontae Adams? We will see. But Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan actually are in my tier 3 as well as the other names. But those are the quarterbacks. There's definitely a position you can wait on. But if you have the opportunity, if you miss out on a Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, like most of us will, because those are big names that will come off quick, I firmly believe you will be absolutely happy with a Russell Wilson, a Dak Prescott, a Kyler Murray, or a Deshaun Watson. Those are names you should be drafting in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Just get them off the board because they will go quick. Now, running backs, this is the bread and butter of fantasy football. They always go fast. They're always, 9, 8 running backs in the first round. This is a position that is very limited. When it comes to tiers, Michael, I actually am blessed with agreeing with ADP in this. So I think for me, my tier 1 would be Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, and then I think Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, and Alvin Kamara are in my tier 1. I am not gonna put Clyde Edwards-Helaire there just yet because he's a rookie. We don't know. We expect huge volume, but we just don't know. So that's my tier 1. What do you think? Is that the same for you, or maybe there's a drop off somewhere else?
I have the same players that you said, but I'm also going to add some on there. I don't know if you said Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones is big for me. But also looking at Kenyon Drake, Miles Sanders, these are my guys for tier 1 when it comes to running back because of the potential, the upside. They catch the ball out of the backfield. Take a look at their points last year. Some of these players only played 12 or 13 games. You extrapolate that into a 16-game season, and you're going to be like, wow, they were on track for 1,800 yards. So I really like those guys. Going into my tier 2, Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My problem with Clyde Edwards-Helaire is I don't know how they're going to use him yet. I want to see a few games before I anoint him as a tier 1 running back. Dalvin Cook, he has tier 1 talent, but he has some injuries from time to time, so that's what makes me drop him off a spot. And then also Chris Carson and Joe Mixon.
Okay, fair enough. Me and you are very nervous about Joe Mixon every year. He's burned us a couple of times in fantasy football. He's burned many managers before us. When you look at it, I agree with what you're saying. For me, my tier 2 has Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the top of that list, and then it has Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, your boy Austin Eckler, Kenyon Drake, and then Nick Chubb, who I feel like a lot of people sleep on as a absolute dire needed running back. And then when it comes to my tier 3, that's where we get in people like the Chris Carson, because Chris Carson now has to feed off of and find ways to push off of Carlos Hyde, who was a 1,000-yard rusher last year. Leonard Fournette is going to be really, really nicely used, I think. But then again, is he going to get traded? They added Chris Thompson to that passing game. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Todd Gurley. If the health is there, Todd Gurley has RB1 upside. I just think I'd rather take him as an RB2. James Conner, again, health concerns. Jonathan Taylor, rookie, who's basically the Hulk, is not going to be starting, though, because Marlon Mack's going to be that number 1 guy. But I think he can absolutely take over Marlon Mack. That's a guy you're going to have to give time for, though. So people like that are in my RB3, as well as Le'Veon Bell. And David Johnson is a name that keeps popping up on my draft board. David Johnson keeps popping up. Nobody's taking him. He's going to get the work in a Houston Texans offense that Deshaun Watson loves to, have the running back be a viable part of it. You look at, what Lamar Miller had done a couple of years ago. You look at the Texans offense in general. Running backs are definitely a focus point. When you look at Carlos Hyde had 1,000 yards, and Carlos Hyde was basically coming into there just kind of a bruiser weight running back. I think a guy like David Johnson that can catch, that can run, who was basically the number 1 drafted running back a few years back when healthy. If he's healthy, which most players are given the time frame, David Johnson could definitely be a running back 2 with RB1 upside.
And just to defend my selection there of drafting a quarterback early on, right? Here's the thing. Taking a look at Jackson's numbers from last year, 3,100 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, 1,200 yards rushing with 7. That's a combined 43 touchdowns there. So if I take him early, take him in the first round, I'm drafting him as 2 players in 1 as a running back as well. Because in my eyes, if I have, let's say I'm drafting 8, and I get Lamar Jackson early in round 1, the whip back around, I get a Kenyon Drake, and then maybe I get a Mark Ingram in the 3rd round. I'm happy with what I have. That's the thing, is that if I try to wait to get a Josh Allen in the 4th round or a Dak Prescott in the 4th round, I might not like what I see on the top end. I just think that you're drafting a player that satisfies two positions in one, and I think if you're going to do any reaches this year, Lamar Jackson is that guy.
I think that's fair, Michael. I completely understand where you're coming from, and I think if you have, I'd say, okay, me and you, I know for the most part, all of my leagues this year, which is so strange, are 10-team leagues. If I am picked 7 through 10, why not take the flyer on Lamar Jackson when at the turn you can get maybe an Aaron Jones, a Kenyon Drake, an Austin Eckler who might slip ADP-wise, Josh Jacobs, someone like that. And then on the next round, maybe pick up someone like a Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley with the upside, a James Conner after the round after that. You're right. There's upside to be had. My thing is you're missing out on the Derrick Henrys. You're missing out on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire's, the big upside players that can be 300-point-plus players. Lamar Jackson's going to get his. It's also tough to trust the fact that he's going to redo what he did last year, the same way Patrick Mahomes did not redo what he did last year because of injury. I think Lamar Jackson runs, he gets you points, he does everything you want in a quarterback. However, we don't know if last year was a one-off when it comes to a spectacular, 374-point season versus, maybe something more in the QB2 range, QB3 range.
My thing with Lamar Jackson is just basically this. He is a third-year player now. He took the leap last year and also improved his accuracy. He was over 63% passing last year. If he gets it to 67, 68%, oh my God, we're going to have a season that we've never seen before. So that's why I'm still high on him.
If you trust Lamar Jackson, you need to trust Marquise Brown as a wide receiver as well. Barring injury, obviously, of course, but Marquise Brown might tear it up. There's going to be a lot to talk about. All this and more coming up. We have drafts today, tomorrow, next week, and fantasy football is here. Football is here. We are excited. Get those bets ready. Get your team ready, and you can always stay ready with us, the Fantasy Gods. And as always, my name is Brandon Medina. That's Michael Jimenez, and we always finish with one simple saying. Michael, what is that?
May the Fantasy Gods be with you.
That's right, baby. We'll see you guys later.
Are you worried?